Hi guys, how's it going? Jamie from Boxing Life as always. And I just thought I'd jump on a stream tonight and answer some questions and also just react to the fights of the weekend. And yeah, it was yeah, some weekend also quite a sad weekend as well, actually, in the end, with the news about Ricky Hatton. Don't know about you guys, but kind of really took me aback. I was watching the Inoue fight, and that's when I got the news. I saw it, and honestly, like my heart like sunk. Cause like it's weird because you kind of grown up. Well, I did anyway, like watching Ricky Hatton, and he's huge, obviously in the UK, and he was like the people's champion at the end of the day, and just such a much loved character, man, and he just gave so much to boxing and UK boxing in particular, and yeah, it was just uh, yeah, real sad. I'm still like, and it's like I never knew Ricky, or I know a couple of people that did, and nothing but good words to say about him, and it's such a loss, and the fact he died so young as well. So my thoughts to all his loved ones and his family in this difficult time, and I'm sure as a boxing community will continue his legacy. In fact, I've started a little kind of tribute video on Ricky, which I'll hopefully get out towards the end of the week, and I'll share that with you guys. But yeah, that's what I'm here for tonight, anyway, to talk about just the weekend action, and of course, anything you guys want to ask me. I'm here for that. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and I'm sure you guys can hear me. I hope you guys can hear me, the ones that are here. Hi, Stephen. How's it going, man? Hope you're well tonight. Um, and obviously, the big one of the weekend was Canelo versus Terence Crawford. And yeah, man, it did not go the way I thought it was going to go anyway. I thought Terence was going to have a few more problems with the size, and how wrong was I? And you know what? Um, as much as I thought the size was going to be a factor, yeah, I like when a guy proves me wrong, and especially the way Terence Crawford did it. Just a beautiful display of the sweet science, really, if I'm being honest. And sorry, just give me one sec. I'm just going to put some kind of light music in the background just to get the right vibes. But yeah, Terence Crawford, man, like, as soon I think it was probably around round 6. I thought it was pretty even, if I'm being honest. I thought Canelo was, he was making it, he's applying pressure. He was pushing Terence back. Terence was still landing some good shots, to be fair, in those first 6 rounds. But I just thought the work of Canelo, the ring generalship in terms of applying pressure, um, won him some runs, personally. But then the tail end of the fight, I think, yeah, Crawford kind of ran away with it. I did score 116, 112. So only gave it two rounds to Crawford. I think some of the work Alvarez did was decent in that fight. I think people are playing it down as much as Crawford definitely won the fight. I don't think Canelo was as bad as people are making out, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, I think he just couldn't get a grasp of Crawford's style. Crawford was really, really struggling. I mean, Canelo was really struggling towards the end with the movement of Crawford. And I think the other thing about Crawford that made him so good in this fight was the fact he was able to catch and counter so easily. And I think Canelo was obviously loading up to land that one big shot that, Crawford could see it coming. I also liked his jab as well. I really liked, he managed to get the southpaw jab off a lot. I thought maybe he might not be able to, but Canelo didn't really throw his jab at all the whole fight. And yeah, it was. I think he had to have thrown his jab a bit more. But the thing about Terence Crawford, he's so good at throwing the jab over the lead hand. If you're trying to land it yourself, he's so good at timing you over it. So it's a hard one. But yeah, I'll look at some of these questions you guys got. So, hi Ant, how's it going tonight? Is the version of Canelo that Crawford beat better than the version of Fury that Usyk beat? I don't think so personally. Crawford is still absolutely incredible. And three times undisputed is amazing. Yeah, it's crazy. The three-time undisputed, obviously, um, the last guy to do that wasn't it like Henry Armstrong. Um, in terms of this question, let me just have a wee think about this. It's a difficult one, because I think Canelo is clearly been on the decline. I think there was always these questions, and I think not that he was terrible in the night, like in terms of, I think he was physically prepared for the fight. I just think Terence Crawford was the better guy. But was it a better win than the Usyk beating Fury? You know, that, I'm not going to lie, that the Usyk Fury 1 fight, you know, as much as I had Usyk winning that by, I think at least by 4 rounds, or 3 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds, I can't remember off the top of my head. But Fury was good that night. He was really good. You know, he was causing Usyk some problems. He hurt Usyk at one point. You know, Crawford didn't necessarily hurt Canelo, but he did really frustrate him at times. Obviously, was it the 11th round or the last round where he like jabbed him, and Canelo just turned away in frustration. So it depends I guess it depends what you like. Personally, I think probably it's a hard one. I probably have to go with Crawford's win over Canelo, if I'm being honest. I think Canelo, as much as he has been in decline, I still think it was just an amazing win, if I'm being honest. And I think Canelo still he has so much experience at this level that, and he also had the size advantage technically as well. And yeah, I just thought it was an incredible win. The Usyk win over Fury, especially the first one, still a good win, but probably just edged the Canelo win for Crawford. And yeah, sorry, I was going to talk about these punch stats by Jabber AI. Shout out to Jabber AI, love their stuff. And yeah, obviously you can see Crawford in terms of landed high impact shots as well, and even thrown punches. And it's just quite obvious. Even the aggression part of the Jabber AI stats, you know, Crawford stood his ground at times and was pushing Alvarez back. So, yeah, you know, it just shows you like Crawford was kind of very not, I wouldn't say necessarily dominating, but just like outboxing. You could call that dominating, I guess. And the Jabber AI, I always like comparing the CompuBox stats with the Jabber AI stats, just kind of see the difference. Obviously, total punches for Crawford was 115, and out of the 534 punches thrown. And for Alvarez, it was 99 out of 338. In terms of jabs, and this is a big thing for me, like I said, I feel Canelo had to throw his jab maybe just a little bit more. But to be fair as well, at one point, I think it was the start of the 9th round, Canelo came out and threw the double jab, and Crawford just took that half step back, caught it, was it the backhand parry, deflected Canelo's right hand as he followed it up, and then straight away Crawford's on him, just throwing combinations. Oh man, it was beautiful. That 9th round, yeah, was lovely stuff from Crawford. Really liked it. Obviously, for power punches, in terms of the CompuBox stats, it was 83 for Alvarez. But then, you know, Crawford was right there as well. He threw 70 power punches, you know, and his accuracy was a lot more as well in terms of the punches thrown. So amazing. It was honestly incredible performance. So yeah, I'll answer some questions now. Sorry, I'm just gonna I'm trying to explain my thoughts on the fight while looking at these questions. So who we got next? Joshua, man, sorry. Oh, I missed your first question. So let's have a look. Predictions for Inoue versus Nakatani in May 2026, bro. Man, that is the fight. Oh, I want to see. I think that's one of the biggest fights in boxing that can be made right now. Obviously, it looks like it's going to happen. I think they're just trying to build it up. And if I'm being honest, after Inoue's performance against MJ, you got to favor the monster going into that, don't you? And to be honest with you, going into this fight, you know, I was kind of like thinking, man, maybe Nakatani could, you know, really cause some problems, seeing how MJ will get on. And, you know, the way Inoue just moved around the ring, he just looks so comfortable in there against, you know, a decent fighter. You know, MJ's no slouch. You know, he can box, he's a good power puncher, but man, I'll tell you one thing, as soon as that first jab landed in the first round, and Inoue knocked MJ's head back, like after that moment, I felt MJ was just like very hesitant. And it just shows you the power of Inoue. He was just unbelievable. And I think that was a good fight for him as well. But in terms of this fight, sorry, I don't want to give my prediction just yet. I think, obviously, I slightly favor Inoue right now. I think Nakatani has a chance. I think he's very awkward. He's got that long reach. So, yeah, I think it's a difficult one, man. It is a difficult one. Sorry, I got your other question, man. So I think Inoue's going to beat Nakatani to the punch and will then stop him in the late round. Inoue's too fast, too slick, too smart, too clever. Yeah, man, I think the thing is, like, and I think the Cardenas fight, I think because he obviously got knocked down, but he came into that fight really well again. But people are thinking, oh, he's got a weakness, but the thing is, yeah, the thing for me was the power and the speed and just the movement of Inoue. If he's able to land like a solid shot on Nakatani early in that fight and hurt him potentially, or just make him like be like, oh shit, I can't actually trade with this guy without, you know, getting knocked out. I'm gonna have to just try and box him from the outside, and it's a difficult one. But I think it's an intriguing fight because Nakatani has got such sharp, accurate power as well. If Inoue is to slip up as he comes into to try and land on Nakatani as well, you know, Nakatani could very well beat Inoue to the punch too. So, man, I think there's a very good chance that, you know, Nakatani could catch him out too. I would not rule that out. But at the moment, yeah, I'm definitely Inoue. And sorry, going back to these CompuBox stats, I don't know if I missed anything. Yeah, even like when I was just looking at the total punches landed just throughout, you know, Crawford, pretty much, you know, rounds. Yeah, you know, technically Alvarez, according to CompuBox, landed more. Round 5 as well. But then, kind of from round 6, yeah, it was the Crawford show. Really, if I'm being honest, he was outlanding him. And yeah, guys, if you got any questions for me, feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll try get to it. And I'll be here for maybe like another 40 minutes or so, and I'll also get onto the other fights too. And the other fight I will get onto the questions, but I just want to talk about this fight. I don't know if any of you guys watched it. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well about this. It was Crocker versus Donovan, and man, like, I love the change of tactics from Crocker. That was amazing. I loved how he tried to, you know, kind of fight that long guard against Donovan, and I think it threw him off, if I'm being honest, in those first kind of the opening rounds. Obviously, he got the 2 knockdowns, countered him as he was coming in. And the thing is, Crocker always had good power. Like, I knew he could catch Donovan, but I was not expecting him to come out this way at all. I thought he would be a bit more cautious in this fight, but in no way did I think he was going to try and bang it out with Donovan, be the counter puncher against Donovan and try catch him and bang him out. But I've seen quite a few people saying to me like they feel Donovan won the fight, and I scored a draw watching it. I thought there were some rounds where, Donovan was obviously applying pressure, but then Crocker would crack him with, a massive, massive right hand, and it just kind of beat the work, in my opinion, of what Donovan was doing in a couple of those rounds. But I still think Donovan finished the fight very strongly. And he was very unlucky, maybe, not to get it by a round, potentially. To be honest with you as well, I need to watch the fight back just to kind of score it again, turn off the commentary and just kind of score it that way. And I'll probably have a different scorecard completely. But, fair play to Crocker, man. He did the job. He got 2 knockdowns. And, that's always going to draw attention to the judges in terms of the other work that you do in the rounds. So yeah, it was decent fight. Good undercard as well. I really enjoyed the undercard. Some good fights in there. And yeah, I'll get to some other questions just quickly. So back to you, Stephen, man. Sorry, just get into this now. How did Canelo look to you? I was really surprised at how well Bud moved and his punch resistance at the weight. Yeah, I thought Canelo kind of looked a bit especially kind of the tail end of the fight. He just looked unsure of himself. He didn't know exactly what to throw. You could even in the corner, obviously, I think Netflix were doing the translation very quickly of what Eddie Reynoso was saying to Canelo, and he was basically saying, you got to take more chances. You got to try put the pressure up and stuff. And it just seemed like even they knew that it wasn't going to plan. And you need to try. At one point they were saying, you need to go to the body more of the right hand. And Canelo would try and do it. He tried, but the issue was Crawford was just taking the sting off those body shots by moving backwards or moving laterally. And then when Canelo did turn with him, Crawford would be throwing a combination or be sticking out the southpaw jab and landing on him pretty clean. So yeah, it was a really difficult one. And in terms of like Bud's punch resistance, yeah, Matt, like he took some big. I think he took probably like 3 big punches from Canelo, and yeah, I think he was okay. Like he looked pretty good in my opinion. And I think as well, Canelo was a bit like he threw the left hook to the body, but it wasn't. I think Crawford's anticipation, he was just blocking it with the elbow in time, and then catching and countering. Yeah, so back to you, Ant-Man. And like I said, guys, if you've got any questions, please feel to leave it in the chat. I will get to it. I'm obviously just reacting to all the other fights this weekend, and I will get to them. And to refute my own question, though, maybe the skill gap between Fury and Usyk isn't as wide as Crawford and Canelo, so it made Fury look better. Yeah, potentially, man. Personally, in a way, I don't know. Like, I think Usyk is a much more skilled guy than Fury, in my opinion. Not saying Fury isn't skilled. I think Fury is more like instinctual, unpredictable kind of fighter. He fights on his instinct as much as he has good skills. Usyk's more, I feel he fights behind a rhythm and strategy, and he's more of a mental fighter, I guess, as well. He's kind of reading what you're doing, and he's just unlike other fighters of the past who haven't been able to figure out Fury. Usyk was, so yeah. Big Boys Boxing, love your content, Jamie. Keep it up, man. I appreciate the love, buddy. Much love to you as well, man. And I appreciate that you like the content. Vision Asian. Canelo decliner, but not in the way most the people are thinking. In my opinion, he declined by fighting in a sofa, too comfortable against. Sorry, I'm assuming, I don't know if your first language Spanish or I'm assuming you think that he's obviously declining and he was maybe just a little bit too comfortable. I don't know. I think that's what you mean. And maybe to an extent, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like, I think towards the end of the round, at the end of the fight, he did step it up. Was it round 11? Even in round 12 a little bit, he tried to make a fight at some points, but Crawford just kept countering him, kept turning, and it was just pretty straightforward for him. So, yeah. Weird Chairman John, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night. Canelo Crawford did for the 41.4 million views on Netflix, the most viewed championship boxing match of the century. Yeah, and it seems a bit wild, but it just shows you the power of Netflix, doesn't it? I mean, like the viewership you can get on there is just crazy. Obviously, like there's a bug flying around my screen right now, and it's really annoying me. But yeah, like it's crazy to think that was so high. Like, and obviously Netflix plays a big part, doesn't it? You wouldn't be getting those numbers on DAZN, would you? But shout out to DAZN. You know, like obviously different platform, more of a sports niche, but Netflix, I guess it kind of brings a more casual audience. And because this was such a kind of like huge fight historically, you know, in terms of what both guys have achieved, yeah, it made sense. You guys, feel free to leave your questions, as I said, and I think I will just give you my reaction a little bit on this fight, Inoue versus MJ. So I'll be honest, I don't know if any of you guys watch my tactical overview. I probably hyped up MJ a bit too much, if I'm being honest, and I thought he was going to do a lot better than he actually did. He had some good moments. He was able to push back Inoue at times, but in my opinion, like he really struck. Like he goes into the high guard quite a bit, MJ at times, and that was giving Inoue the opportunity to go to the body quite a lot with it was like the jab cross left hook to the body, or the double jab cross to the body. And yeah, it was just really, and then also just the speed and the power was really unsettling him. And you could tell throughout the whole fight. And it was almost like Inoue was just playing with his food. He was just having fun in there, trying out different things. MJ actually hurt him at the very end of the fight, which was funny. That's what I mean. Inoue can switch off, man. Like I was saying, Joshua, man, like Nakatani could always basically jump on him and get him if he's not careful. So yeah, it was an interesting fight, and it was more just interesting seeing what Inoue was going to do. And I think this is good preparation for him going into a Nakatani fight, especially against a southpaw. Obviously, different styles. I think MJ is a bit more compact than Nakatani is, but yeah, it was just fun. It was just fun seeing him use different things, trying out different stuff, and it just shows you that there's levels to this, isn't there? You know, in terms of ability, and obviously styles make fights as well to an extent. But I think this, you know, the level of Inoue was, you know, very. I only gave MJ maybe 2 rounds at most watching it. So yeah, I think really good performance, and I'm just going to leave a quick little ad break, guys, and I will be right back. And it's just about my Patreon, so give me 1 second, okay? I want to tell you about the Boxing Life Patreon. On there, I have an ever-growing library of fight film studies, which goes into extensive details of tactics and styles. Not only that, you get early access to upcoming videos and extra content, including my betting previews with my own personal predictions and picks. Well, you can also ask me questions on my monthly Q&A. If you want to go a step further, the Champ level tier gives you the request for me to create your own film study or cover a boxing topic. Whether it's your favourite fighter or an upcoming fight, I'll cover it. This is a great way to support the channel and for me to dive deeper into the sweet science without the worry of content getting blocked or demonetized on YouTube. If you want to try it out, there is a 7-day free trial. I'll leave it in the description below. And we're back, and I'll get to some questions, guys. And like I said, please feel to leave it in the chat. And my Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy tonight, so apologies if this cuts out by any chance. But yeah, feel free to leave your questions. I'm sorry I look like an absolute ghost. My other light basically screwed up and it's messing up my camera, but hopefully that doesn't deter from the stream, and we'll get to the next question. So Anne, again, man, appreciate it. If Crawford doesn't retire, where do you want him to go next? It seems the most realistic option is 160, and I don't think I could sing enough praises if he becomes unified there. Pound for pound, all-time spot. Yeah, I wouldn't put him like pound for pound, all-time spot personally. I would like to see him go down to 160 pounds, if I'm being honest. I think, like, I don't really like the Billy matchup with Crawford. I just don't think that's a good style matchup personally. And Billy is a very dangerous guy too. As much as I think he possibly lost at the weekend against Martinez, I think 160 is a good option. Sorry, that flies back again. But 160 is a good option, and in my opinion. I think there's obviously I don't know if you guys have seen that sparring footage between Crawford and Adames. So that, that there's a bit of a backstory. That could be a good fight to make. Or the Janibek fight. I want to see, personally, that's the one I would love to see, is Crawford versus Janibek. I think Janibek is unreal. I think he's really dangerous. Who would I favor going into that? That's a tough fight. Janibek's got good footwork, southpaw, throws very unorthodox punches as well. And he can counterpunch, he can be the aggressor. So I think that's a difficult fight. I think if Crawford was going to take any of the fights, it'd probably be the Adames one, if I'm being honest. But either one of those guys at 160 become unified champion. If the opportunity is there to become undisputed in 4 weight classes, man, I'd love to see it. And you know what? I'd favor Crawford in both fights. I think I have to. I can't pick against him now after what he did to Canelo, if I'm being honest. But styles make fights, and like I said, I think that Janibek fight is a very difficult fight. I don't know what you guys think about that, but let me know. Tobias, man, how's it going? Hope you're doing well tonight. And I agree with Vision of Asia. Canelo hasn't fought someone as dynamic and versatile as Crawford in years. Since Mayweather, probably. Yeah, I think, yeah. I guess the last guy, and I'll admit, is probably, I don't know, like Billy Joe Saunders. He was awkward. If you go back and watch that fight, Billy Joe Saunders was having good success. Kind of from like rounds 5 until he got basically the broken eye socket in round 8. He was looking pretty good, Billy Joe Saunders. He was making it difficult. Good movement. And you could tell Canelo was getting frustrated in that fight. I'm trying to think of any other fights. Maybe the Caleb Plant fight. He struggled. I wouldn't really say he struggled. I think he was able to close the distance pretty quickly, in fact. But in terms of someone a bit slicker, yeah, I don't think he's not. Yeah, I think probably Billy Joe Saunders was kind of the last kind of dynamic guy, wasn't he? Tobias was telling anyone that would listen, Bud would. Man, I should have listened to you as well. It was the first time I picked against Bud Crawford since Ricky Burns back in 2014 or whenever that fight was. And I was being biased. I was supporting my countrymen, and I was wrong. Top Jimmy, man. How's it going? I was at Windsor Park, and very few people there, Donovan fans included, did not feel that Paddy did anything. I agree. I felt Crocker imposed himself more and scored the bigger punches. Yeah, Jimmy, that's what I mean. Like, I actually scored it a draw. I think I actually liked Donovan's work towards the end of the fight, but I just felt like there was, like, I can't think of the rounds off the top of my head at the moment, but there were some rounds where Donovan was applying pressure, but he wasn't really doing anything. And then all of a sudden, Crocker got landed like one big right hand, maybe like 10 seconds later landed another big right hand, and I think that just pulled the round for me. Ineffective and impactful, and you could tell it really shook up Donovan even in those rounds. And it's hard because it's not like Donovan had a terrible fight. He did adapt well to Crocker's change in style, but I think he was a bit taken aback in terms of like, shit, what do I do here? And obviously Crocker got those 2 knockdowns, which, you know, that was the difference maker, really. But yeah, shout out to Crocker's team for that change. Jimmy, if you're still here, let me know what the atmosphere was like at Windsor Park. It looked great, and the undercard, man, that was enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. And yeah, guys, Big Boys Boxing, man, I appreciate the love. If you're here, please hit the like button. It really helps out. Probably stay another half an hour, answer your questions, and yeah, talk about Canelo Crawford, Crocker versus Donovan, or the Monster versus MJ, or any other questions. Happy to answer them. The other thing as well, I saw I don't know if you guys are watching it, the Eubank versus Ben rematch press conference, which was interesting. Obviously that rematch is on DAZN. I believe it's the 22nd of November. So yeah, how do you guys have that in the rematch? I'd love to know. Personally, I have to favor Eubank again, but then I don't know. I still need to look into all the details. I don't know if it's the same weight or if there's a rehydration clause again. That could affect Eubank Jr. And the other thing as well, which I think is interesting, is Eubank has brought in Bomac, Terence Crawford's trainer, for this fight. And obviously, Eubank did work with Bomac for the Liam Smith rematch. So that's an interesting dynamic as well. And I'm not saying like Bomac is going to make him into Terence Crawford or anything, but I think Bomac and his team, you know, they've got, you know, they're the best at strategy, aren't they? And applying the game plan. And you got to hope Eubank sticks to the game plan, you know, if he is going to be working under Bomac. And I think he should win if, you know, he follows what they say and trains hard. And I just struggle to see the thing that when I was watching the press conference, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Nigel Benn was like saying how Conor Benn didn't come out the way he was supposed to. All the things he worked on in training, he just threw out the window. And I was like that's worrying to me. You know, when you're a fighter, you know, they've trained for 2 months for a fight, and then they go out fight night. And I understand it can happen, but I just think Conor Benn is such he's an emotion-based fighter. He fights so much on his emotions that sometimes once he gets hit, his game plan goes out the window, and he kind of just goes into, I need to just land a massive shot, and he's just constantly feinting. I just think it's not energy efficient. And as much as he's dangerous and he's, you know, he can land some big shots, he can let himself down by doing that. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the Ben Eubank rematch, and who do you think wins? And like I said, guys, feel free to put your comments in the chat, and I'll try answer them. And I will try and get through some of these questions. And like Big Boys Boxing says, hit that like button again. I'll just remind you once more. Sore loser. Next big fights to be made, Bud versus Boots. Yes, man, that's the fight I would love to see. That's the one I'd like to see before Bud hangs it up for sure. You know, he doesn't have to. I don't think it ruins his legacy if he doesn't take that fight. But yeah, man, I'd love to see that fight. Boots versus Spence. Bud versus Spence catch weight, 154 pounds. Spence versus Bandura. Boots versus Ortiz Jr. Virgil Ortiz versus Bud. And Arthur Beterbiev versus Benavidez. Man, I'd love to see any of those fights. The only one I don't like is Fundura versus Spence. I think that's a horrible matchup for Spence. I don't think he would win that fight, if I'm being honest. I think the fact he's been out for so long, I think Fundura is a problem as well. I really do. I think he's so awkward. And yeah, I just don't think it's a good style matchup, if I'm being honest. And I don't really like the Bud Spence rematch either. I think that would just be a repeat, even at a catch weight. We saw how Bud handled Canelo, so why would he handle Spence at 154? Yeah, so I don't like that fight. Beterbiev versus Benavidez. Now that's interesting. I like that one. Ortiz versus Bud. Like, I like to see that fight, but I think it's not going to happen. I don't think it's a big. I think Bud's only going to take a big money fight now, or a fight at 160 pounds. He might go back down to 154. You never know if the money's right. Maybe Turkey can put up the money. I'd like to see it. And Boots, I'm still not sure he turned down Ortiz. No, yeah, I saw, like, obviously, I think that's a super fight. Honestly, in the next few years, potentially. The longer these guys fight, obviously, I think Ortiz Jr. needs to become a world champion first and foremost. I think that's another issue for Ortiz at the moment. Once he becomes a world champion and starts building on some of those wins as a world champion, I think that fight is a lot bigger. But at the moment, I think, yeah, it still needs more hype around it, personally. Like, it will sell. Like, people would watch it, no doubt, boxing fans. But if you want a bigger audience, yeah, I think Ortiz needs to get a few more wins under his belt and win a world title. And Boots is pound for pound top 5 in my eye test, but that's all. Yeah, and I rate him. I really like Boots. I think he's still got a lot of work to do. Obviously, he's fighting Lima next month, and I think he should get through that. Lima, I don't know if you guys have watched Lima. He's a tough guy. He's no slouch. So I think it's not an easy fight for Boots. I think he should get through it pretty comfortably, but Lima's tough. So it'll be interesting to see if Boots goes up another level at 154, or if he just kind of struggles through it. Be interesting to see what happens there. Tobez, RP to the Hitman and the Body Snatcher. Yeah, man. It's been some year for people passing away in boxing. Really sad. Not going to lie. And yeah, I'm honestly, I don't know, like, obviously some of you might have been here at the start of this stream. I kind of said how, yeah, kind of really, when I saw the news, my heart sunk. I was really gutted. I still am. And the Body Snatcher as well, like, yeah. I only started watching really more of him in the last kind of couple of years, watching a lot of his old fights. Obviously did a tribute. I don't know if you guys have seen that video. You guys can watch that back. Just kind of looking at his skills and techniques. And in terms of fundamental wise, Mike McCallum was honestly unbelievable. Technically, fundamentally, he just did everything right. He was almost like the Terence Crawford of that generation in a way. And yeah, guys, like I said, if you guys got any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. Stephen, I have to disagree with Saunders. Canelo was setting up the right uppercut the whole fight. Stephen, you are right, but he was also getting hit by the jab a lot. Go watch it back. He was getting peppered with that jab, and he was still getting frustrated. I agree. I still think Canelo was clearly winning that fight, and he was setting up the right hand really well. But I still think Saunders was causing him issues in that fight. And next fight I want is Muhammad Alakil versus Navarrete, so you can get that kid out of boxing. Oh man! Interestingly, I've actually seen Alakil live. He's actually, I believe, he's from Edinburgh in Scotland. I think obviously he has Saudi roots, but he's actually Scottish, which is interesting. Yeah, I think he won. Yeah, he won some amateur competitions here, from what I saw, and obviously understand why the Saudis are pushing him. They want him to obviously be the face of boxing there in Saudi. But I think he's got a long way to go, doesn't he? I think they really need to develop him over the next kind of 5 years. Just keep building him up, and like he might. You never know. Hopefully, he proves us wrong, man. Like I like when guys prove us wrong, and but I think he's got a long way to go. Long way to go. Industry plan boxer, man. Yeah, but shout out to Alec. I hope he does it, man. I'm not a hater. I want to see people do well in life, and if he can get better, all the best to him. And yeah, guys, as always, comment in the chat. I'll get through these as much as I can. Tobez, you could bring the greatest trainer in history. Eubanks can't box. Man, I disagree with that. I disagree. Go watch the Liam Smith fight, the second fight. I think he boxed really well. When he uses his jab, sets up his combinations, he's a decent fighter. Ever since he... there's this myth around Eubank Jr., in my opinion, that he can't box. He's just a slugger. He was a bit like that in his younger years, but I think ever since 2020, when he teamed up with Roy Jones, he completely changed his approach. Yes, he still has that grit and determination to slug it out at times, as we saw in that Conor Ben fight. But when he decides to box and use his jab and set up his combinations, I think he's not as bad as people make out. I'm not saying he's the best. He's not like a pound for pound boxer or anything, but he's certainly not someone that can't box. That's just factually correct. And sorry, I'm just trying to look through these chat. Romain Sefu, Bud Crawford made it look easy against Canelo. He certainly did, buddy. Certainly did. And yeah, he deserved it. 100%. He deserved to win that fight. And he outskilled and outboxed Crawford. Canelo, sorry. Giovanni Perez, thank you for the question, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And do you believe Canelo should retire? I'm really, I've been thinking about this the last couple of days, if I'm being honest. And I think I'm really struggling, if I'm being honest, to think where does he go from here? I think the one last kind of big money fight you can take is obviously the Benavidez fight. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the Crawford rematch personally. Doesn't do it for me. I think it would be the same outcome again. I think styles make fights in this case, and I just can't see him working out Crawford. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Does he want the Bivol rematch? Once again, couldn't figure out Bivol. Is there any point taking that? The Beterbiev fight, I'd like to see that. Canelo Beterbiev, I think that would be an incredible fight. But it's a difficult one. I think I can see Canelo trying to get Benavidez back down to 168 potentially to make that fight, to try giving him another advantage. But there would always be questions around the fight at that weight, wouldn't there? 170, because Canelo's fought 175. He doesn't have any excuses, does he? But I still think it's a huge fight. I'd still like to see the Benavidez fight. I still think it's almost a passing of the torch fight as well. And the other thing, if Canelo was able to beat Benavidez and beat him convincingly, I think that would be an incredible mark in Canelo's legacy. But what are you saying, Giovanni? I don't think Benavidez' fight is worth it. Oh, like I can understand why. I think people just don't want to see, like, I think because he's lost to Crawford now, maybe people are thinking, maybe that's it for Canelo and time's up. And there's only a couple of fights really for him. Probably Beterbiev. That could be a good option because Beterbiev isn't getting younger, but Beterbiev is an absolute monster. So it's a difficult one. But I think Canelo, in terms of what he does, he needs a dance partner basically that's going to be able to stand and want to fight. And the two guys that are going to do that are Benavidez and Beterbiev. And whether he gets those fights or wants to take those fights, that's up to him. I can't personally. I struggle to see the Beterbiev fight. I could maybe see the Benavidez fight still. The other thing as well, Turkey, Al-Sheikh did say he's got 2 more fights left with Riyadh season. So maybe he takes that fight, or maybe he, depending what happens with this Eubank Conor Ben, if let's say Eubank beats Ben again, maybe he fights Eubank Jr. in Wembley Stadium or something like that. I'd like to see that maybe. And yeah, I don't think he's got much longer though. I think after these next 2 fights, I think Canelo will be out the sport for good. I can't see him going on any longer than that now. And yeah, guys, make sure to like the stream, really helps out. And comment your questions in the chat and I'll get to them. And before I get on to those questions, I just want to talk about Ricky Hatton again. And yeah, just gutting. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know if any of you guys were here at the start of the stream. I was just saying, like, I was watching the Inoue versus MJ fight and the news came up and literally my heart like just sunk. I was like, couldn't believe it. And he was a people's champion, like, and he just has an incredible story as well. He was, I think his parents, owned a pub in Stockport or Manchester, and he grew up in the pub, and that's where he kind of got his chippy chappy kind of personality. And then there was a basement in the gym. I mean, so in the pub, there was the basement in the pub. Sorry, that's where a lot of his boxing equipment was. That's where he dreamed of being a world champion and a fighter. And as a kid, he was dominating the amateur scene, and the fact he kind of was able to get like 30,000 fans across over to the States to go watch him, it's just shows you, like, what fighters can do that. Very few. Very few. You like. It's so sad that he died at such a young age, and he'll be terribly missed. And like, it's funny. I'm working on a kind of wee tribute kind of video for him at the moment, just kind of highlighting his skills in the ring and his underrated IQ. I think people really underrate. I don't know why, if it's just because he is such like a man of the people and just like down to earth Ricky Hatton, that people just underrated his ability because he just wanted to be one of the people. And he had very underrated boxing skills and ability and ring IQ. The way he was able to set up that body punch, his feinting as well, and his inside fighting as well. Like, he just had so many good elements to his style that a lot of people can learn a lot of. And I hope with this tribute video, I know it's like, it's not going to save the world or anything, but I hope it will continue his legacy and maybe help people appreciate what Ricky did in the ring. And obviously he was much more than that. He was so much more than that, for what he did outside. And I think all I can say is rest in peace, and that you'll be missed greatly by the boxing community. And I put it out to everyone that knew him and his loved ones, rest in peace. And just gutting, man. gutting. But yeah, I'll get back to your questions, guys. I'll probably stay. I was going to only stay for the hour, but I might stay for another 15, 20 minutes or so. So get your questions in and I will get to it. And Bruce, how about Bud versus Resendez? Is Resendez a world champion? Let's just check. Armando Resendez. That was a good, that was an incredible win he got over Caleb Plant. He was amazing. Like, no, he's not a world champion. I thought he might have the WBA regular belt. That's why I was saying that. Sorry, I wasn't saying, obviously, Crawford's undisputed, but I thought he might have had like the WBA regular belt. That's why I was saying that. But no, he is not. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's I want to see if Crawford's going to make that. Like, I'd rather see Crawford try and become a 6-weight world champion by going down to middleweight, 160 pounds, winning a title there. I think that's a better option in my opinion, Bruce, against Adames or Janibek. Or if one of them vacate a belt, you know, try fight it out for one of them. But I'd like to see that. Giovanna, the bitter BF fights interest me. I don't like the Benavidez style, and Canelo losing to him would not be a good look for his legacy. Yeah, well, it's a weird one, Giovanni, because like people would say that it would ruin his legacy if he didn't take that fight. You know, they would always say that he ducked Benavidez. And does he want people saying that after he's retired? Oh, he could have taken that fight. That's an interesting one. And sorry for, I'm looking like an absolute ghost tonight. Trying to get my light and my camera screwed up. So that is why I'm looking like a ghost. But I will sort it out for future streams, and I will do more of these going forward. So although he's young, Zayas versus Boots would be interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see that fight too, man. I really like Zayas. I think he's a very criminally underrated, very good jab. Personally, I'd still favor Boots. I just think he's a little bit more experienced, even though he's coming up in weight. I think Boots is just a naturally huge guy, and I think it's a tricky fight though. Zayas can box smart, can get behind his jab. He's got a good body punch, and you would make it a long range battle for Boots, unless Boots is able to get on the inside and try bang out. But yeah, I don't think he would like that. And you guys, feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and I'll get to them. Like I said, I'll stay here another 15 minutes, and we'll get to it. Yep, rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. And if you guys are here, please like the video. Maybe all you guys that are still left like the video. I appreciate it. And if we are drizzling out, I might end the stream a bit earlier, guys. So yeah, feel free to leave any questions. Sorry, Giovanni, just seeing this now. Caleb Plant versus Anthony Sims would be a really interesting fight. I don't know how Anthony's doing, man. Like, I see that he's doing a lot of stuff on his Instagram. Man, I love Anthony Sims. I think love all the stuff that he says on his Instagram as well, about the jab, and he's good. He's good comedy, and yeah, that's because it would be some good trash talk as well in there. I have to admit, I'd like to see that. And yeah, I believe we're drizzling out now with guys. So guys, I will finish up the stream now, but I just want to say these last few things for Ricky Hatton. I think what a guy Ricky Hatton was, and boxing hero to everyone in the UK in particular, and he will be greatly missed. And yeah, I'm just gutted to hear the passing about him, and from all the messages that I've seen, you know, they're just nothing but love, and that just, it tells you about the character of who he was. And like I said, I've got a tribute video coming out. It should be up the weekend or hopefully the end of the week, and can kind of highlight the great boxing skills and boxing IQ of Ricky Hatton that doesn't get appreciated enough. And yeah, rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. You'll be missed. Thank you, everyone that joined the stream. And like I said, I'll be doing a lot more of these going off more often. And as always, this has been Jamie from Boxing Life. I'll see you in the next one.